to Candid Convos with Evette. I am Evette Rawls, founder and creator of Teacher Coach Series. Today, we're going to start session 2, building relationships in your first 5 years of teaching. This is the most important part of education, not just in teaching, but also in your educational career. Networking, building relationships, not only with just your students, which is always going to be important, but also with admin, the custodial staff, the office staff, and other teachers. This is very important. We hear it often in education and how important it is to build relationships with students, because we know that with building relationships with students, this is the gateway for students to learn. And yes, we're going to have a whole entire session on building relationships with students. But during this session, I really want to talk about our networking skills and building relationships with the adults in the building. Now, this is going to be a touchy subject because, again, as I shared with you when we first started this series, that I am going to be very transparent in my experiences and over the last 2 decades. So in some of the things that I'm going to share with you, I'm going to tell you the positives and the negatives in hopes that you can take this and learn from my experiences to have the best results in your first 5 years of teaching. So building relationships with the adults in the building or in education arena for the first 5 years. As we know, social media is a huge platform that all people use. No matter whether you're an educator or you're a business owner or if you're a musician, it doesn't matter. All of us are using social media. You probably even learned about this YouTube channel from social media, which is amazing. Use this platform, social media, to build relationships. In building your relationships through social media, this is going to be by you finding those platforms or finding those other educators that are sharing positive information and resources and tips and strategies. It is such a plethora of information out there on social media that you can use to build your toolbox. Use it. There's nothing wrong with you collaborating with teachers on social media to learn more about a strategy or a tip that you may not be getting in the building. It's actually amazing. It's a blessing in my eyes. I've learned so much just by using the social media platforms. I encourage you to do the same thing. So I just wanted to do a little snippet on that because I also have a session on social media and how to use that to build your toolbox in a later session. So social media, building relationships with people that you may not ever see in person. Yes, it can happen. I have quite a few relationships that I've developed over the last year on Instagram of teachers that I've never seen in person, but we support each other so much. The second piece that I want to share about building relationships, and the reason why I'm taking my time, is because it's a sensitive topic. Building relationships in the building. And you would say, well, why is that a sensitive topic? Because in your first 5 years of teaching, you're going to experience a lot of different types of personalities. You're going to experience, a lot of different responses and reactions. And I want to take my time to say this because I also want to sort of share with you a mindset to adapt when experiencing some of these reactions from the adults in the building. Sometimes, because you come with a sense of eagerness and positivity and newness and excitement and joy and love and happiness and just your the mindset to just ready to go, and passion about what you're doing, you may come across some adults in the building that you work in that don't exude the same type of passion and excitement and happiness and love and joy and peace. So what do you do with that? Nothing. Because you want to make sure you do nothing with it. Especially don't put it into your world. Now, we do want to have a heart that is empathetic and a compassionate heart to understand people, and we want to make sure that we are not the root or the cause of possibly a toxic environment. But if you come across someone who does not vibe the same way you vibe, or is putting off some energy that is negative, do nothing with it. Now, that does not mean that you have to verbalize this, because you may be in the same classroom with this type of energy. You may have to work close, be on the same team with this type of energy. This may be your boss. So this is where you want to make sure that you understand the power of silence. When you are in an environment and you come across an energy that does not sit well with your energy, or something that does not make you feel good, I encourage you to be silent and mentally block it out. But at the same time, hear whatever it is that they're sharing. Because if you listen to their heart, you'll be able to hear exactly what happened. Don't be so quick to judge, to say, how can they be like that? Because I'm going to give you a flip side to all of this. There can be times that some of the people that seem the most negative have the best relationships with their students. How is that so? Because they remember their why. If you have not looked at session 1, I encourage you to listen to session 1. Session 1 is identifying your why and understanding that no matter what goes on, you always remember your why. That's why you can come across someone that's been teaching for over 20 or 30 years, and they may not be as positive or hype or have as much energy as you, but them students love that person to death. But when it comes to the adult in the building, or the adults in the building, you might see them as looking at you or giving you the side eye, maybe not even speak to you. Don't take it personal. It's not about you. In education, you experience a lot of different things. When you go into your first 5 years of teaching, you're going to see and you're going to hear and you're going to feel a lot of different things that you may not agree with. What you do with that information, what you do with that feeling, what you do with what you saw, is going to determine how you react and respond in the next decade. So even though you may see someone and they may be a reactor from what has happened in the last few years or in the last year in that building, understand it has nothing to do with you. Now, in building relationships, always be true to who you are. If you are a person that always says good morning to everyone, and you're a morning person and you love to be around people and you love to just spread positivity, be that person. Don't let someone's response or someone's reaction to you change who you are. They don't have to speak back. Don't let, because someone is having a bad day, make you skip a beat in your skip. No, skip on anyway. I have been in buildings where I have said good morning every single day. And I actually love saying good morning because I'm a morning person. But I've said good morning every single day. And I've had some people that never said good morning back. And you get to a place, well, I've gotten to a place, it doesn't bother me at all, because when I say good morning, I'm actually speaking that into your life, that I hope you have a good morning. I'm not saying it for a response. So if you're doing things for a response, then you need to check your intention, which goes into how you are going to build these relationships. In building your relationships, you have to make sure that your intention is right. You have to make sure that you are genuine in what you are putting out. Whether you're dealing with someone that you may look at as being difficult at that time, or you're looking at someone that you're like, oh my gosh, they're amazing. They're just like a box of cookies. I don't know. But is your intention right? Sometimes you'll get to a situation and you have to look at it, well, that's just the way the cookie crumbled. And sometimes you get to a situation you be like, wow, this is just amazing. We just have the best relationship. Oh my gosh. If your intentions are right in building relationships with people, you can't help but build relationships. Now you say, do I have to build a relationship with everyone? No. But when you build a relationship within yourself, you can't help but say, good morning, or hope for the best for everybody. Because at the end of the day, you're all on the same team. And just like in a family, and there was a quote, and I'm trying to think of the quote. Actually, I had that quote somewhere. We're a family. A family is just like fudge with a few nuts, or something like that. I have to find it, and I'll actually try to post it at the end of this video. Take a picture of it. But it's just like a family. You might not get along with everyone, and that's okay. But in building relationships, you need to make sure that you are purposeful, intentional, and genuine. So when we say purposeful, as we move on into the last tip, and I haven't been counting them off, forgive me. You want to make sure that you're doing this with everyone. Your purpose is not, I'm just going to have relationships with the people on my team, or I just want to make sure that I speak to everyone on the hallway. Where's your intention? You want to make sure that you're being purposeful in the relationships and who you are speaking to and how you are speaking to them. Let's get into the custodial staff and the office staff. These should be the first relationships that you want to establish. One, the custodians can tell you everything that is going on in that building, where to find it or who to contact. The office staff is going to make sure that you are straight when it comes to if something happens in the sense of that you have to take a day off, or if you get sick, your paycheck. You want to make sure that those relationships are established, not only in developing relationships so they know who you are and you know who they are in the sense of their roles and their jobs and what they do. But also, if you need help, these are the people that can help you. They have the correct answer. Not everybody in your team has the correct answer. They may just give what they feel, what they believe. These people, this is their job. This is their title. This is what they are being paid to do. So if someone says, just take off this, don't show up to work, go to the office staff. Go talk to the bookkeeper. Find out exactly what needs to happen. What's the rules? What's the procedure? What's the steps you need to follow? Is there something I need to do online? Is there a paper I also need to fill out? It's different in every school. So you want to be purposeful in how you develop these relationships. Now, purposeful, genuine, and intentional in the workplace, building these relationships in the first 5 years does not mean that you're hanging out with these people once you leave the building. Now, this may happen. You may develop wonderful relationships and you are friends when you leave the building. And this is amazing because I've had relationships that we've become very, very close friends. But that does not mean that you need to. When you're building these relationships, you're building these relationships because you've built a relationship with yourself first. You're going by saying good morning. You're going by saying, I hope you have a good day. If you decide to do anything further than that, that's a choice that you make because of who you are. Not everybody's big talkers, and that's okay. Not everybody wants to have a full-blown conversation before 7 o'clock in the morning, and that's okay. If you choose to, if you want to listen to music, you want to dance going down the hallway, I do that sometimes. That is up to you. Don't let anybody dim your light. Shine your light bright and go on about your business. I am going to also discuss relationships with your admin. When I say admin, I'm talking about the principal. I'm talking about The assistant principal, I'm talking about the dean of students. This is the person that probably deals with discipline. Who deals with discipline if you have a situation, if you have something going on. I'm talking about coaches that may be in the building. I'm talking about, and when I talk about coaches, I'm talking about instructional coaches, literacy coaches, reading coaches. There's some math coaches. There's a lot of different types of coaches, and I'm not talking about per se about sports, but you want to have relationships with those coaches as well, especially when it comes to student relationships. But we'll get on that when we talk about student relationships. But how do you build relationships with the admin team? Well, the number one tip I would love to give you in this is develop a relationship with your administrators that is not solely on putting out fires. You have to be intentional here as well. You want to make sure that it's purposeful when you're building this relationship, and also that it's genuine. The principal or whoever's dealing with discipline don't always just want to see you when it is a situation where they need to come get a kid, or you're complaining about a situation that you don't agree with. Good morning to them. Remember, they have a lot going on. They're probably building relationships with everybody. And you want to make sure that they know that you're a pillar of support in the building as well. Not, when I say this, I don't want to be rude, but I'm just going to say it. You're not a weak link. You're not someone that's whining all the time. Hold your own. Okay? Because if you give your power away to admin, they're going to be the ones that have to deal with that situation or that type of situation every time in your classroom. So remember who you are. Now, if you need support from admin, never hesitate. Go get it. Okay? Because maybe they can give you a strategy or a tip, or maybe they can collaborate or get you with another teacher that you can collaborate with to help you find some resources and tips to handle that situation. Another thing is you want to make sure that when you are collaborating, that you are evolving into learning partners. So when you are connected with another teacher, whether this is through a PLC, a professional learning community, what you would call like vertical teams, or any type of learning, professional learning community that you have within your schools that you have to work with other teachers weekly, whether that's developing lesson plans or developing intervention plans or developing behavior plans, or depending on what you're working with, IEPs, MTSS, there's so many different components in education, and you'll see that, and we're going to talk about all those acronyms as well, because that can become overwhelming. You're like, I don't know what an MTSS is. I don't know what a PBIS is. What is the IEP? It'll be a lot. Okay, we're going to get on that. All right. But what I was talking about as far as collaborators evolving into learning partners is that when you're in these type of communities or in these type of settings, that you're developing relationships that you can learn from each other. Now, being a new teacher, remember you're learning. Now, this does not take away what you know and who you are. But my suggestion to you is, in the first couple meetings, learn as much as you can while you can. You're learning the personalities of your teammates. You're learning the personalities of who you're working with. You're learning how they communicate. You're learning how they respond to each other. You're learning who the leader is in the group. Every group has a leader. You're learning who is the voice of the group. You learn who's the supporter, who's the cheerleader. All of these different things. Learn. So, I'll say this. There's a quote that I share a lot, and you'll hear me saying a lot of quotes in these sessions. And it says, the more you know, the silent you become. When you're in these meetings, pay attention who's the quietest. Now if they're quiet because they're doing some other stuff that it's a lot of disinterest going on, that's something else. But also be mindful of the people who are quiet, because they may have some knowledge that you can tap into once the meeting is over. We'll talk about how you tap into that as well. Also, during this learning phase, that does not mean that you cannot ask questions. What you'll notice is, when you ask questions, you'll see the people that's willing to give you the answers, and you'll also be able to pay attention to the people who may not be so willing to give you the answers. Don't let this hurt your feelings. Some people just don't want to help, and it's okay. It is okay. Find the people that will help, which goes back to our social media. You can find somebody on social media by asking a question or something that somebody posted and say, hey, what did you mean by that? Or ask that question and get an answer that will help you throughout the next 15 years of teaching that you might not even get in the building. And then you may find that teacher that's sitting right there and say, hey, they mean this, or this is what this means. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay? And so you want to make sure that it's equally invested, that you're equally invested in each other, and that you're improving in the achievement of whatever that goal is of the team that you're on. So if your goal is like we're trying to raise the achievement level for the students in maths that maybe bubble students, or the achievement level with reading, whatever that is, you want to make sure that you're equally invested. And during this time, you want to ask those questions, you know, like what does that look like for us? You know, if we're talking about doing small groups, what does that look like? What do you expect of me? Can I come and look in your classroom? Building those relationships that are genuine, intentional, and that you are following a sense of purpose. Okay. Someone sent a question, so I was waiting for this to be the last part. Someone sent a question, and so I wanted to wait and let this be the closing of our session. So we're getting to the closing. And remember, please always feel free to send your questions. You can do this through DM. You can comment below. You can send this through email. Just label it Candid Convos with Evette. Question that you would like answered during the next session. And our next session is going to be on student expectation. What do they really expect from us? And what do we think they expect from us? And so we're going to talk about student expectation in the next session. If you have any questions about student expectations, please send those questions so I can add it. The question that was sent was, what do you do when you feel like your principal does not like you? You do nothing. You do your job. You do your job. You remain professional. And if it's a situation where you feel like it's a get you gotcha, or you feel like it's a hostile environment, things like that, stay in the radar. I have shared this with so many new teachers, and I'm so happy about sharing this with you guys. What does it mean to stay in the radar? I have learned how to master staying in the radar. And what that means is that you never go above the radar. You never go below the radar. To go below the radar means that you're not doing your job. That it's noticeable. And that means that you need to have some attention directed towards you because you're not doing your job. You're not where you need to be when you need to be there. You're not doing what you need to do. You're not showing results. You got some things going on inside the classroom that shouldn't be happening. That's when you're below the radar, okay? When you are above the radar, that means you're seeing a lot. You're seeing a lot. You might always be out and about in the hallways, and that's okay. That's your choice. You're easy to be found, okay? Easy to be found. Sort of like always in the office, possibly. Wherever, just out and about. You're above the radar. You know, if there's something that's going on, you know that you're a person, go-to person. You know how to get there. You know how to find her. She's right there. Okay, he's right there. When you're in the radar, you're doing your job so well, and you stand in your lane and you stand in your classroom. People have to question: was she at work today? Was she at work? You getting results? You're doing everything that's asked, everything that needs to be done, everything is appropriate. Admin don't even need to come down to your room for anything, actually. You're speaking to everybody that you see, but you're only coming out when you need to, but you're staying in the radar. So my suggestion to you is, if you feel like that is happening, and I don't know what it may build up to or what may be developed from that, I would encourage you for a little while, if it's just for a week, if you feel like it needs to be longer, 3 months, 6 months, a year, stay in the radar. Do your job. That's it. People don't have to like you. And you don't have to like people. I mean, That's an internal thing, you know. But if they don't like you, or you feel that they don't like you, because we don't really know. I mean, of course, this question comes, I don't know the whole story. But if you feel like they don't like you, I encourage you to stay in the radar. And if you have some more, you want to go more in depth, 101, you want to email me. I'll even send you my phone number. We can FaceTime. If you ever have a question like that and you want to, I'm open to it. Okay. But I hope that helped you. And I want to thank everybody for joining in with another Candid Convo with Evette. I thank you all for your time. Again, share this with any teacher out there that may be at a place that they just want to hear more about what's going on. How do I become more successful, and how do I build those relationships in my first 5 years of teaching? Again, we're going to focus on students, but right now these are the adults in the building. Networking, we talk about social media, being intentional, okay, being purposeful, and also never forget this, be genuine. Be genuine, okay? Be true to who you are, all right? And I thank you. Share this. Subscribe if you have not subscribed below. All questions, all suggestions, any hesitations, anything that you just want to ask that you're like, I don't know, I can't ask this in my building. Ask me. I'll give you an answer. I have experienced a lot in these last 19 years in education, and I'm so grateful to be sharing this with new teachers. I just want you guys to be successful, and we have the best job in the world. I love being a teacher. I love being in education, and I love supporting other teachers. Like, it's amazing. Like, it like does something for me. And so I am going to end this session now, and I hope that you would visit the links below, and share this with everyone, and send me some questions if you have. The next session is going to be on student expectations, and so I'll start that. If you have any questions about that, please send that to me. Thank you so much. Have a good night, good day, whatever time it is for you. Okay.